So we just had a software release in our company, and this is a very standard procedure in software engineering, but this is also the time which is a bit more stressful than normal days because you have to work a bit extra. You have to attend to those extra calls and extra defects and bug fixes that may arise at the time of release slash integration slash merging, whatever you want to call it. So in this video, I want to go over a few habits and routines that help me stay on top of my game and get the tasks done in due time with a lot less stress as compared to most people. Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Anudeep Sharma and I work as a software engineer by the day, and I also work on this YouTube channel as a hobby where I document my journey and also share some thoughts that I have along the way on this beautiful journey of life. If you want to follow along, please consider subscribing. That always means a lot. Enough of this long plug. Let's get started. Okay, this is classic advice, but staying organized is something that surprisingly takes a lot less time but pays huge dividends if done consistently. So, starting with physical spaces, I don't know, there is some kind of magic in working in a clear, clutter-free environment on a clean desk and focusing in that vibe like a beast. There's a bunch of research that shows that the environment that we work in affects our mood, our thinking patterns and our behaviors, and also our productivity. So if something is in front of you which can easily distract you and you're working on a hard problem, it is human nature to get distracted. The brain follows the path of least resistance, and in this particular situation, the brain will find less resistance in getting distracted. Hence, the best way to avoid this is to remove the problem altogether. Don't give your lazy brain even the option to get distracted, because once it does, it will not be able to do the hard stuff, it will not be able to delay gratification, and workspace design such as tidying up your desk and getting all the essentials before you start your deep work session is one of the ways to avoiding it and getting in the zone to start your deep work sessions. Now coming to digital spaces, I generally tend to keep my folder structure organized on my work computer, and I know where each file is, where to search it, because I have been organizing it every once in a while, and this comes in handy in crunch situations and helps me avoid stress and anxiety that may come with finding the files immediately for sharing or for using. And as I said, reviewing the whole system is also an important part of this whole process, and I generally do this on Fridays, where I go through all the folders, my downloads and all the shared files that I have been using since the last week, and I remove the unnecessary clutter, and what remains, I organize them into appropriate folders. And I really believe that we as knowledge workers need to have this digital organization, because in this age of information overload, it is really easy to get overwhelmed, and having your folder structure organized is a way to avoid that overwhelm. So, time blocking is one of the most effective productivity techniques that I have used till now and have been using for so many years. And it has been so effective partly because of the Parkinson's law. And the Parkinson's law states that the work expands to fill the time allotted for its completion. So, that means that if I give myself 2 days to complete a task, I will get it done in 2 days. But on the other hand, if I give myself 4 hours or 5 hours to complete the same amount of task, I will somehow get it done in that particular time. In the past, I have worked with traditional to-do lists, and what I realized is that I wasted so much time. The amount of work that I could have done in 2 days, I took 1 full week to do. That is because Parkinson's law creates this sense of urgency, this sense we have to get something done, because when you are deciding the task that you need to get done in a particular time block, you have analyzed all the parameters and you know that this particular task will be done. But if you give yourself more than that, your brain will trick you into feeling that you need those extra hours to complete the task. You will be stuck in perfectionism, you will procrastinate, you will waste some time here and there. So I try to keep my time blocks as packed up as possible, and in that particular time block, I work in beast mode, I work in Naruto Sage mode. Time blocking also gives your teammates an indication of when they should not disturb you, because if you have blocked a particular amount of time on your calendar as busy, it will show on your Teams or Slack or whatever communication tools that you guys use as busy. And so even if somebody messages you, you are not compelled to answer them because you are busy in your deep work. And chances are people will not message you because they respect you. All in all, if you are a software engineer or do any sort of knowledge work in finance, accounting, medicine, any sort of corporate knowledge work, I highly recommend time blocking. Have you ever noticed a state of mind in which you are so engrossed in the work that you don't realize how fast the time passes? Well, those moments, that flow of mind, that state of mind is called flow state. And it really is like being in Naruto Sage mode. You literally get 4x the amount of work done, and while you realize that it is up to chance to be in flow state and it happens once in a while, there are practical steps that you can take to be more in that state and to get more stuff done and be on top of your game. So, how can you do that? Well, according to research, flow is an altered state of consciousness where you are not easily distracted and time flows very fast. So there's a bunch of research that shows that we experience flow state when we are working on things that interest us. And by interesting, I mean something that aligns very well with our skills and experiences. So for example, if something is very easy, we will get bored and we will not do the task. On the other hand, something is very difficult, we will procrastinate because the brain will follow the path of least resistance and it will find less resistance in procrastinating rather than working on the task at hand. So in that case also, it is very difficult to get into flow state. What happens is that when you're working on tasks that are just above your skills and experience level, that makes the whole thing quite interesting to work on, and those are the type of tasks that induce flow state more often than not. Another research shows that we get into flow state when we are not distracted, and that makes sense, right? We have already talked about that, but what I need you to understand here is that to get into a very long state, very long period of time where you are not distracted, you have to set this environment. You have to artificially create an environment where you are not distracted for a short amount of time, and when that threshold is broken, once you go past that amount of time without being distracted, you are in flow state. So how do I apply these two principles in my work sessions? Well, first of all, before starting my work session, I make sure that all my digital devices such as my phone, iPad, laptop, everything else is in DND mode, that is do not disturb mode. So only a few select people can call me or reach me, and the time is blocked on my calendar so my co-workers can also not distract me, so I can just fully focus on the task. Secondly, I break the task into manageable chunks which I think are just a bit more challenging than what I think I'm capable of. Then I slot those manageable tasks onto my calendar and I work on them. If it's a big task, I break them up into even smaller pieces, and at the end of each work session, I give myself some feedback. This feedback keeps things interesting for the next work session, so on and so forth. One shocker of a realization was when I understood how many people are willing to help me out. As Professor Dumbledore says, help will always be given to you, Harry, but only if you ask for it. In fact, there is a really good book called Who, Not How, and it lays down the argument that even if you don't know how to solve a particular problem, or even if you do, it does not matter. What matters is who you know and how you ask those people for your help. And this mindset is so empowering yet so liberating, because you know that someone has walked your path. There is someone who has been through the shit that you are going through, and they are able to help you if you ask correctly. Talking of asking correctly, let me first explain quickly what the golden hour is. So golden hour in productivity is the first hour or the first couple of hours or the first work session, whatever you want to call it, where you yourself are trying to solve the problem without anybody's help. So you gather all the resources, as many resources as you can, you make sense of the information, you understand the problem, and then you give it a shot. And this process may result in you not being able to solve the problem completely or not being able to solve it at all. But that's fine, because this leads to you understanding the whole problem. Now, the absolutely wrong way to ask people for help is, hey, I cannot do X, can you help me out with it? No, that is wrong. Please don't do that. Why I say so is that if you frame your questions this way, there's a high chance that the person you're asking will reply, hey man, I'm a bit busy, can we do it later? Or they might not help you at all. This is so because they have to spend a whole lot of time to just understand the problem, understand where you are, and then help you proceed. But hopefully, you worked hard during your golden hour. So you explain them about your understanding, about the progress that you have made, your blockers, and then you ask for inputs based on their expertise and experience. This way, you have already done half of the thinking for them, and all they need to do is run their brains and run through their experiences and help you out in the best way possible. This way, the chances of getting a response that helps you out is way more as compared to the other option. This makes the chances of answering their questions in a way that benefits you way more. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this video. These were some habits and routines that I follow during crunch moments and even during normal working days. If you're still here, I really hope this was of value to you. If you like this and if you consider watching similar content, please consider subscribing. It really means a lot, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.